Is it legal? Good question. A lot of people ask it. When it comes to self-defense, there's a lot of misinformation in Britain about what we can and cannot do. There will be a link under this video to the actual government website. There is nothing on the books in Britain that says you have to be assaulted before you can defend yourself. It's a myth, it's a common misconception that you need to wait to be hit before you can hit someone back. The reason this doesn't work in reality is because a fight doesn't work as it does on TV and film. It's not a case of I hit you, then you hit me, then I hit you, and we keep going until someone's too tired to get up off the floor. That's not how it works. 99 times out of 100, whoever lands the first strike is going to land the second, third, and fourth. Their mate's going to jump in. You're going to be fighting an uphill battle, and it doesn't work how it does in the films. The exact quote is, "There is no rule in law to say that a person must wait to be struck first before they may defend themselves." So, from the fence, we know this person in front of us is about to attack us. We strike first. We get the hell out of there. That's perfectly fine. That's legally okay. The law is on our side with that. Something to take into account: if you had to wait to be hit before you could defend yourself, let's just take a look at the differences of heights and weights of people in Britain. If you've got a 5'2", 7.5 stone woman, are you saying that she needs to wait to be hit first before she can defend herself against a 6'4", 280-pound man? Yeah. Sometimes you get someone who's just really, really big. They've got no skill whatsoever, but if they swing their hand, they've got so much weight behind it that they're going to knock the guy over anyway. If you get someone who spent maybe 3 to 6 months in amateur boxing, if they land the first shot, it's probably going to be all they need. Yeah. So with this in mind, if you're waiting for them to hit you first, you've already lost. The idea as well that someone's going to throw a punch and you're going to block it and then throw your own, that doesn't work either. If you know someone's going to attack you, hit them first. Yeah. 3 F's. First, fast, ferocious. Make sure you go first. Make sure yours is fast. Learn to hit really, really hard. Learn to hit really, really fast. Learn when to recognise when you have to go first. Off what we teach, off the fence, that guy gets 3 touches of our lead hand. The third time he touches it, the interview's over and we're lamping him. It sounds brutal. It's not, because the first time he touches it, you try to beg off. You go, mate, I don't want any of this. The second time he touches it, you push him back. You go, I don't want to, but if you force me to, I'm going to eat your face. If he touches it a third time after you've done that, you've got nowhere else to go. So if he won't leave me alone when I've said I don't want to fight him, and he won't leave me alone when I've said, okay, I do want to fight you, and I'm going to, use your skull as a cereal bowl. At that point, if he's still coming forward, he's leaving you no option. He's definitely going to fight you. If he's going to fight you, hit him first. Get rid of this concept that, oh, it's a sucker punch. It's not a sucker punch. It's not a cowardly thing to do. It's not a wuss thing to do to hit him when he's not expecting it. That's the best time to hit him. It's the punch you don't see coming that knocks you out. If this guy had any honour, he won't be trying to start a fight with you in the street to begin with. That's the way to look at it. So the law is on your side with a preemptive strike before they've actually made physical contact, within reason. So the very, very first video I published on this channel was reasonable force, so I suggest you go back and have a look at that for the full explanation of reasonable force. But basically, reasonable force is dictated by the threat we face. So again, one of the examples I used was if it's an older guy pushing 60 or whatever, and he's got a really thin neck and he's quite slim and he's half cut, you can usually get away with just shoving him back and saying, knock it off. That isn't going to be considered reasonable force against somebody who's 6'4", 20 plus stone. Reasonable force doesn't just mean stopping what we do. Reasonable force is also how much of it we need to use. Again, all this covered in the reasonable force video. When it comes to law, if we've done all we can to avoid the confrontation, if we've done all we can to then escape the confrontation without actually getting physical, but we find our path keeps getting stopped, then we've got nothing else we can do. We're going to have to do something first. So again, I'll put the link under here for it. There are police officers in this country that don't know this. That's what's alarming to me. That's why I'm making the video, because I've had conversations, not arguments, conversations with police officers who have told me, no, they're absolutely no, you must wait for them to touch you first. With the greatest of respects to everybody out there, no matter how tough you think you are or whatever, if you stand there with your arms down and you offer me your chin and your jawline, I'm relatively confident that if I hit you, you're going over. This isn't a knock on anybody's toughness or anything else like that. If you're not expecting it, and your arms are down and your chin is out, and I land, that's the only thing I need to land. You might not go unconscious, but I guarantee you're hitting the deck and your legs are gone. So with that said, for me, I'm 5'10", about 14.5 stone. If you've got someone who's 6'4", 6'5", and they're 20 plus stone, and they know how to punch, why on earth would you let them punch you first and then hope to get back? It's not going to work. And luckily, there's enough sense with some of the lawmakers in this country that they understand that. An example I used was years ago was actually using myself and one of my friend's mothers, who was a tiny little slim primary school teacher, and the point I made was, would you tell her to wait for me to hit her before she could do anything back? It doesn't make sense. So legally, because everything we teach in our bud is legal, it's within the parameters of the law. It still works, it's still effective, but it is within the parameters of UK law, because we're not after maiming anybody, we're after stopping them long enough for us to get away. The law, we know, in this country doesn't always necessarily appear to be on the side of the person doing good or the person doing right. There's a lot of times in this country that the law seems to protect the baddies. Not every bad guy who gets caught by the police actually gets prosecuted. They don't always get sent to prison, which is again why we cannot expect other people to save us. We've got to look after ourselves. We've got to have a skill set where we can defend ourselves. You can't expect the police to always be there to stop the bad guy hurting you, which is why you need to learn some type of self-defense. Once you learn self-defense, you need to know what legal parameters are there that I can do this in. So knowing the legal parameters means you can train within the legal parameters, meaning that what happens in a fight usually is instinct. You don't usually think about it, you usually do whatever you've trained. You fight how you train, which is why I think I mentioned it in the 3 siblings video. If you are training on a stationary, compliant opponent without any type of language whatsoever, you're not really training self-defense. If you're training with someone who's giving you resistance, who's moving about, who's getting in your face, effing and blinding and threatening you, that's going to get you more prepared for a real confrontation, because that's closer to reality. If you train certain things that are 100% effective, and you know you're training them within the legal parameters, you've not got anything to worry about. It's when you see martial arts classes saying, we do this and then we break the neck, and we do this and we rip the throat out. No, you don't, because that's stupid. It's one, it's a myth, it doesn't happen, it can't happen. 2, you're teaching people to kill, which means you're going to go to prison for 18 years. That's 18 summers you miss, it's 18 Christmases, 18 anniversaries, 18 birthdays. You're going to completely miss your kids growing up. Chances are, your wife or your husband or whatever is going to move on, have multiple affairs, even if they do stay waiting for you. All that for the sake of some absolute scroach who, called you a name or whatever, and you felt compelled to fight them. It's not worth it. So everything we teach is within the parameters of the law. It is all reality based, so there's none of this nonsense of ripping the throat out or breaking the neck or any of that American Ninja nonsense. Know the law of your country. Know the law, if you're in America, of each state. It changes state to state. If you know the law on self-defense, you know the law of assault, it gives you a much better grounding to know what to do, what not to do. We teach everybody here, if you get in the argument with somebody, once you've got your fence up, just take a small step back. Because that's obvious then that you don't want to fight. If they follow you on, then they're coming at you and you need to whack them. there's no need to really be tricky with the law, to break the law, to bend the law, because the law is there to protect you, believe it or not, regardless of what you might see in the media. So knowing this, we're on the right foot. So once again, there is no rule in law to say that a person must wait to be struck first before they may defend themselves. So the law is on our side for the preemptive strike, which is obviously what we teach. If you have any questions, suggestions, or comments about any of it, anything at all to do with self-defense or martial arts, please do let me know. Please like, share, and subscribe. And stay safe and stay vigilant.